Hi everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Patience. In today's video, I am going to be sharing with you guys how I made this beautiful straight fitted palazzo pant with side pocket. Before we get started, kindly click the subscribe button. If you have done that, let's get into it. I'll be using this crepe fabric for this tutorial and it is 2 yards, but I'll be using this other fabric to mark my measurements for it to be visible, and I'll use it as a pattern to cut out the main fabric. I've gone ahead to mark this line, that is my waist line, and I'll mark the crotch depth. On an average, the crotch depth is 12 inches. To measure the crotch depth is to sit on a chair and measure vertically from the waist down to the seat of the chair. So I'm going to mark 12 inches. And I'll mark the full length, which is 43 inches. And 3 inches for hemming allowance, that is 46 inches. After doing that, on the waist line, I'll go in by 1.5 inches. That is from the folded edge. And on the crotch line, I'll go in by 1/2 inch. And on the full length, I'll go in by 1 inch. So I'll connect this 1/2 inch to this 1.5 inches this way. Like I said, on the hem line, I'll go in by 1 inch and I'll connect the 1 inch to this 1/2 inch. This way. On the waist line, starting from the 1.5 inches, I will mark 1/4 of my waist circumference, which is 9 inches. I'll add 1.5 inches. So 1 inch for that and 1/2 inch for sewing allowance. Now I'll measure from the 1.5 inches to the folded edge. What I have here is 12 inches. I am going to mark the 12 inches on the crotch line in order to have a straight line. So I'll connect it this way. Remember, I marked 1/4 of my waist circumference on the waist line. Now on the crotch line, I'll mark 1/2 of my round thigh measurement, which is 15 inches. And I'll measure the 15 inches from the 1/2 inch, as you can see, and I'll make the curve this way. On the hemline, I am going to minus 3 inches from the round thigh, that is 15 minus 3, which is 12 inches. So I'll mark 12 inches this way, and I'll connect the 12 inches to this 15 inches. After doing that, I'll come down by 1 inch this way and I'll make a slant. For my dart, I'll measure this line and mark the midpoint. And I'll mark 5 inches for the length of the dart. So I'll be using 1 inch for the dart and I'll mark 1/2 inch on both sides and create my dart. That is it for the front piece. I'll cut this out. This is the front piece. Now I am going to be cutting the back piece. I folded my fabric this way, as you can see. I am going to place the front piece, leaving about 3 inches above. as you can see. I'll extend the waistline and the crotch line, also the hemline, and I'll also mark the 1.5 inches on the waistline and 1/2 inch on the crotch line. I'll also mark the 1 inch on the hemline. So I'll pin it down to keep it in place. From the 1.5 inches, I will mark 1 inch this way, and I will make a slant from this waistline here past the 1 inch. Remember, I marked 10.5 inches on the waistline on the front piece. I'm still going to mark the 10.5 inches on this slanted line starting from the 1.5 inches, and I am going to add 2.5 inches or 3 inches. If you're making for a plus size, you can add 3 inches. So I'll connect it to this point. After doing that, I am going to extend the crotch line, and I'll mark 2.5 inches this way, and I'll make the curve. I will also extend the hemline, and I'll mark 1 inch, and I'll connect it this way. For the dart, I am going to mark the midpoint of this line, and for the length of the dart, I will mark 5 inches. So you can use 1.5 inches or 1 inch for the dart. So I'll mark 1/2 inch on both sides and create the dart. That is it for the back piece. I'll cut it out. On the front piece, I'll cut out this 1 inch, and I'll use this as a pattern to cut out the main fabric. So I've cut it out on the main fabric, and this is the back piece. I've also marked the dart. I'll sew the dart, and I am going to align it this way, the right sides together, and I'll sew on 1/2 inch on the crotch area. I've also cut out the front piece, and I've also marked the dart. So I'll be attaching a pocket, and I've gone ahead to cut this out. This is 13 inches by 32 inches. I'll fold it this way and fold it again. I'll align it and pin it down. Now I'll place the front piece this way and pin it down. I'll cut out the shape of the waist and also the shape of the hip. After doing that, I am going to curve the shape of the pocket and cut it out. This is 4 pieces. I'm going to keep 2 aside, and I'll be working on this other 2. I'm going to place the front piece this way and also pin it down. So for the width of the pocket, I'll mark 2 inches. You can mark 2 inches or 2.5 inches, and for the depth, I will mark 7 inches. And it depends on the shape of the pocket you want. You can make a slant line or a curved line. So I'll make a slant line this way from the 2 inches to the 7 inches, and I'll cut it out. After doing that, I am going to pick one of the pockets and place the right sides this way. I'll sew by 1/4 inch. I'll sew on 1/4 inch this way. After doing that, I'll notch and turn it over. You want to make sure to iron and make a top stitch. I'll pick one out of the other pocket and place it this way. First, I will sew the pocket, placing the right sides this way. After doing that, I am going to align it this way, as you can see, and I will stitch on this part and this other part to keep it in place. To stitch on the other part, remember I am supposed to take in the dart, so I did not take in the dart. So what I'm going to do is I am going to pleat it this way. So if you like, you can take in the dart, but I am going to pleat it this way, and I'll make sure the pleat is facing the pocket. So I'll pleat it this way and sew. So this is how it came out. Like I said, you can either take in the dart before you attach the pocket or pleat it this way. So this is the pocket. I've done the same thing on the other side of the front piece. This is the pleat and the pocket. The next thing I'm going to do is to join the crotch area. So I'll place the right side this way and sew by 1/2 inch. Placing the right sides together on the back piece, I'll also sew by 1/2 inch on the crotch. After doing that, I'll take in the dart. So I marked 1.5 inches for the dart, so I'll take in the dart. So this is the back piece. This is how it came out. Now I am going to place the front and the back piece, the right sides this way. I'll sew by 1 inch for the side seam, and I'll also align the crotch area this way and sew by 1/2 inch. I have done that. If you want to attach a front zip, I have a detailed video on how to draft a basic trouser. I'll put the link on the description box. I'll be attaching a side zip, so I left this opening for the zip. I've gone ahead to cut out the band, and I ironed an interfacing. On fold, I cut out 2.5 inches. I'll be using 1/2 inch for sewing allowance and 2 inch for the band. So I'll place it this way, starting from this zipper allowance, and I'll sew round by 1/2 inch. I've done that. I've attached the band. The next thing I'm going to do is to attach the zip. Placing the right side of the zip on the right side of the fabric, on the 1 inch, I'm going to sew the zip. After attaching the zip, I am going to fold in the excess this way and sew on top to keep it in place. After doing that, I am going to hem. I've done that. I've attached the side zip, and I have also hemmed. We have come to the end of this tutorial. If you have not subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Kindly give this video a thumbs up and also click on the subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell to be updated when I upload a new video. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.